This edition of the Milwaukee Bucks Untapped podcast. Corey Moen, Evan Bernd. Evan, how are we doing, man?
We're doing all right.
Yeah. It's been it was a tough week. It was, and I understand that people are gonna look at it and be like, "What do you mean, Corey? We won like 2 games." I said this last week. I said this maybe 2 weeks ago. These aren't the type of wins I want to have. Okay? I'm sick and tired of every game being like a 131 to 128 barn burner in which they need like Giannis or Lillard to like come up big. Okay? I don't want every game to be like that. I don't. Okay?
I thought we were away from that. We had a couple games, but yeah.
And Evan, I think we're past the point where it's like, oh, well, they're just figuring it out. We're a month into the season.
Yeah, we're 17 games in, just about 15. Yeah, 17 games.
Okay, and I read this earlier today, or maybe it was like a couple days ago, where Adrian Griffin tried to have a defensive philosophy similar to the one he had in Toronto, where, like Toronto, they had the athletes, okay, and they went away from the drop coverage, and which didn't work. So then they went back to the drop coverage, but I understand that people were like, oh, well, get on Adrian Griffin to adjust and listen to his players. I also think that it's Adrian Griffin's job to have a defensive philosophy that suits the talents of his team.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't really work if he tries to shoehorn Toronto's defensive philosophy to Milwaukee's because they don't have the same personnel. So that was a concern. The fact that early in the season, like even a few games into the season, it wasn't long before the players like, hey, like Brook Lopez needs to stay in drop coverage. Okay, you can't have him running around the floor like he's some athletic big. He's not
fast enough.
No, he's not. And so that was a concern. Okay. The other concerning part, so you mentioned the stat last week about Brook Lopez having a lot of blocks. That's great now, but there's still defensive issues that are very much underlying with this team. Is that they're still giving up way too many transition opportunities, still giving up way too many drive-by baskets. So I don't know where we go from here because, like I've said before, Milwaukee is like back half of the NBA in terms of team defense. It's going to be very, very hard for them to just claw their way to being top 5. So I guess, like, where do you think like Milwaukee even like goes from here defensively?
I feel like it's just going to be non-existent, or it's going to be really good, maybe like a little chunk of games, but then the other games is just going to be non-existent, where they're just going to like, can we score more points than the other? Obviously, that's what you need to do, but can they do it without having to defend and hope that they'll force whatever team to miss certain shots where they can win by whatever they've been doing, like 3 to 10 points. But I don't know, because it's like there'll be one good game where it's like, wow, that was really good, and then the next 2 or 3 are like, wow, that was really, really bad. And there's no like in between. There's no consistency. I feel like we're just relying on Brook to block and hope that he can contest shots, but it's not going to work every game. He's not going to have 5+ blocks every game. It's not possible. But I just feel like at this point, it's Brook and Giannis are really our only defenders, in my opinion. Maybe you could throw Andre Jackson Jr. in, but he's more of like a offensive kind of get another rebound kind of guy. But I don't know. There's nothing there and there's nothing working. And I feel like they're trying too hard to try to not make it work and hope that not doing it works, if that makes sense. I just feel like they're trying to score as many points because there's so many possessions, especially in the Trailblazers game that we'll get to, where they just walk right past them. And like there's not like Brook could be looking at him, he could go contest, but they just like let him walk, even in the Wizards game. But it's not existent and it's frustrating because it's kind of what you need to do to win games comfortably.
The other thing too that's even more concerning is that it feels like Adrian Griffin hasn't had his players ready to go in the first half of games.
No, their first halves have been horrible this year.
And like that's a concern where it just almost feels like teams that they should be winning by a comfortable margin, like they struggled with the Blazers.
Mm-hmm.
And look, I understand the Blazers have a couple of nice pieces. Okay, they have Malcolm Brogdon, they have DeAndre Ayton, and they have Scoot Henderson. But you're gonna let those players have like a massive first half against you, which you all like 68 points, I think it was. I think they were down 16. And like we'll get to this. We'll get to the Blazers game in a second, but you know the fact that Milwaukee had to claw their way back and had the largest comeback in the NBA this season by 26 points.
Yeah, I don't want that stat. It's a cool stat, but I don't want that stat.
No. That's like, oh, well, we were bad like the first 2 or 3 quarters of the game. And all of a sudden, oh my God. Like they got lucky to beat the Blazers because like Portland's like really, really bad and probably going to be rebuilding for a period of time. So, yeah, let's get right into these games. First up,
Celtics.
Yep.
We predicted it.
Yep.
They went down too early. They tried to come back. They only lost by 3, but these are one of the games where I just rather get blown out. I hate having a comeback and losing by 1 basket because I'm like, oh, well, if they would just made this shot. Oh, well, if Brook would have made one more 3-pointer that he took. I hate it. I'd rather just get blown out. But yeah, it was like they were down 10-0 in like a minute or 2, and it was like, cool, that's the game. Like they're not, you can't ease your way back into it with the Celtics. They're not going to win. They can close out a game.
And before the season, I'll admit I was talking a lot of trash about their bench. How wrong was I? Because Peyton Pritchard, who didn't play in a lot of games last year, actually improved his game this summer.
Yeah, he had a big contract signing. Not like huge, but like big for him. But yeah, he's one of those guys who can have really good games or just like won't show up.
And Sam Hauser, I believe, is the other guy who was at the end of their bench last year.
Yeah, he like barely started playing near like the end of the season.
Like a knockdown shooter now. So, yeah, the players that didn't play a big role in Boston's success last year are now really good, like really stepped up their games. And, I mean, look, the other stuff doesn't surprise me. Yeah, of course, Jaylen Brown had a big game against Milwaukee because he's another Bucks killer. Jason Tatum, I mean, Jason Tatum before that game was sick. There was a few plays he didn't look sick because Jason Tatum still – he didn't have a massive game. He had 23, but he still did enough to have an impact on the game.
Yes. Yeah, his shooting from 3 wasn't the best. Missed 10 shots, but yeah, 23, 11, and 4. You can't not take that. Very similar to Giannis.
Kristaps had 21. And – the ageless wonder, Al Horford.
Yeah, everyone had double digits, but Drew Holiday. Drew Holiday had a horrible shooting game, which was like a very fair trade-off for losing to the Celtics. Is it wasn't the Drew Holiday show, and we lost to him. That's the only thing I take as a win out of this game is we didn't let Drew Holiday destroy us.
But there were a couple of occasions where they tried to treat him like a regular point guard.
Mm-hmm.
Where they tried to back him down. I'm like, dude, that's not going to work against Drew Holiday. I watch him. We watched him for 3 years.
Yeah, don't do
Trust
that.
me, he's not. He's small, but he's stout.
Yes.
He's strong.
And then he'll hit the shot over the backboard.
You cannot move him. You can, like, there were a couple of occasions where Giannis tried to back down Drew Holiday, but Drew Holiday does not move.
Yeah, it's like PJ Tucker.
Like PJ Tucker. It's weird though, because like Giannis can move anybody, but like, God forbid, Drew Holiday.
Yeah, Chris Paul's another guy like that too. They can hold their ground.
Yeah, because it's all about leverage, I think. And oh my guys, you cannot like normally I'd be like, okay, baby in the post, but Drew Holiday, he's not like most point guards. Okay? He's not. Like, you cannot just back him down and you're gonna be able to shoot over him. He's so quick with his hands that like he'll steal it from you in 2 seconds.
And then he's on to the next play.
then he's on to the next play. But
I was looking at stats. I think the biggest thing that I think killed the Bucks was Brook. Basically, no, I'm not going to throw Brook in there. Lillard, Giannis, and Middleton shot atrociously. I think that's what killed them, is that when they're not hot, then no one else is going to be. I just know Damian Lillard was 3 for 10 on threes. Giannis decided to shoot 3 and miss all 3. Chris 2 for 5, but yeah, 11 for 24, 7 for 20, and 4 for 14 are not the shooting games for them. But yeah, just overall, this wasn't a good game. They took 101 shots compared to the Celtics 84 and only made one more shot than them. It was an ugly game, and they only lost by 3, but again, still, it was an atrocious lose by 3 because they had to fight their way back down 21 or 23, I think, at some point. But again, we'll see what happens. Again, they can never win in Boston, but hopefully they can do better when they play here. But yeah, just a game I want to put out of my head again. Said that many times this year already.
I think it's time to accept the fact that Boston's just a better team.
Yeah.
Like right now, and Milwaukee could probably eventually close the gap, but think about it last season. Okay. Milwaukee and Boston, I believe, had 4 meetings, I want to say, during the regular season. 3 or 4 meetings.
Mm-hmm.
And Milwaukee, the only win they had was against Boston's backups, and it had to be in overtime.
Yeah, I was going to say it was a gross game.
So really, Bucks fans were kind of delude themselves into thinking they might be close to that we're nowhere close near Boston. Okay, the Boston's probably going to be the best team in the East because I don't know, they just have the better team, and in a 7-game series, in a series that could potentially come down to bench play, I think that'll be interesting to watch.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who's going to win. But if these two teams play each other in the playoffs, I think that's one of those matchups that I would be excited for in a 7-game.
Yeah, it'd be probably better than the finals. I feel like that's going to be like the Bucks finals year where they played the Nets. Like that was like a really good fought out 7-game series. But yeah, we'll have to see. We'll have to see who's healthy, because Kristaps is one of those guys where I always worry about because injury wise, but again, we're not hoping for injuries, but he's one of those guys. Middleton's out now. I don't know how long he's going to be out for, but we'll see. But yeah, it's one of those things where if it comes down to that, it's gonna come down to the bench of who's going to be able to hold their ground longer.
Yep. So Boston took the first matchup 119 to 116.
Mm-hmm.
I believe their next matchup is, if I have it right, sometime in January. Or is it a little earlier than that?
They will play January 11th in Milwaukee.
Okay. All right. That's better. It's probably it. What day is January 11th?
That would be give me a second. January 11th is a Thursday.
All right, that's TNT. Okay. So January 11th. Unless does TNT do Thursday? Oh, I think they do. That's probably all they do.
That or yeah.
Okay, that might be TNT. So, anyways, yeah, Boston took the first matchup in Boston, 119 to 116. Moving on, Milwaukee had a matchup on Friday, I believe, against the Washington Wizards. Barely
pulling
squeaked
one
that one
out.
out. Barely squeaked it out. I believe it was so ridiculous. It was like what, 131 to 128 or something like that.
128. Yep. And it came down to basically the last shot because I don't know who took it, but they almost made it to tie the game. I think it was Kuzma. But yeah, it was a close shot to tie, but the first time in Bucks history they have got 3 guys who score more than 30 points and they win by 3 points to a team who has 2 wins. Not a fun fact when people are posting about the Bucks fact and then everyone commenting, well, it was still the Wizards and they only won by 3. It's like, yeah, well, that's the Bucks for you. You never know what you're gonna get.
No, and to end that game, like they made some uncharacteristically bad plays. I think highlighted by Giannis turning the ball over, that it could have sealed it.
Yeah, he missed a wide open dunk.
Well,
which he did, and yeah, I know which one you're talking about too.
He didn't miss it; slipped out of his hands.
Yes.
Which actually, we'll get to that in a second, but really not the first time that happened to him this week, where Giannis is a wide open, like the easiest shot he's ever going to take in his life. And he easiest shot in his life, and he biffed it.
And it was crunch time because these are one of the games where I think Brook Lopez had a career high at 39, or he tied his career high. But it was one of those games where you finally have a guy scoring who hasn't really been scoring a lot this season. Brook, I think, at 21 the last game, but he's usually been pretty low, around 10 or under. But yeah, 39 for Brook. He only missed 3 shots, and there were 3 3-pointers out of the 4 or the 7 he took, and 2 steals and 3 blocks. Like he was having the game of his life. And yeah, it came down to the last shot. Just a lot of I had the turnovers. They had 9 turnovers. But yeah, Giannis having 3, one of them being the crucial ones. But it was basically, I saw it as 3 people did really well and everyone else didn't. But for them, it was kind of 4 people had pretty good games. I think the biggest thing was Kispert. Oh my God. If he made one more 3-pointer, I was going to lose my mind. He started like 5 for 6 and then went 6 for 10. It's the random guys who have their career highs against the Bucks. I'm assuming that's a career high for 3-point shooting for him.
Yeah, and then Tyus Jones had 22. It doesn't even really surprise me anymore what Tyus Jones has been doing in my life for the past 8 years. Okay? Every time. You can't just make Tyus Jones look like an average backup point. They always got to make him look like a Hall of Famer.
Yep.
Like, Jordan Poole had 26.
Yeah, really bad shooting game, but got to the line a few times. But yeah.
And really bad mustache. I don't know what is growing on his face, but like he's got to shave that thing, because I'm looking at it. I'm like, dude, that is not a good look for you. I don't know what that caterpillar is growing up on his lip, upper lip or whatever. But he's got to shave that thing. That does not look good. It's not a good look for him. But you know what? Evidently, he's playing his best basketball against us.
Yes, he is.
26 points. So,
this one, we can really just repeat ourselves from the last game. It was just trading baskets. I mean, I guess the Celtics didn't trade baskets, but yeah, trading shot for shot basically until the last minute or two where Bucks kind of got a little lead, gave it up, and then it came down to that final shot. But 3 guys over 30. That's really all. Beasley had 9 points, 11 rebounds. Middleton, again, another bad shooting game. Bench guys didn't really do much either, but yeah, it was another expected game.
Yep. So let's just
Yeah, I think the Trailblazers one we need to talk about because that one can be hit in different areas.
So it's gonna be tough for me to talk about. I told Evan before the podcast started, I had to miss. I watched 2.5 quarters of the game. The reason why I missed the comeback was unfortunately my grandmother passed away on Sunday. So we had my family we had my family down to a hospice, and it was a really like sad, emotional day. But the Bucks were able to pull off a win.
Mm-hmm.
So it's almost like she was looking out for us, even though she wasn't a basketball fan. Um, so I guess when you watch the comeback, what were some things that you noticed?
It was like at first I thought it was going to be like a fluke game where the Blazers they literally could not miss a shot, and they don't quote me on this, but I think they're the worst 3-point shooting team in the league this year. Scoot Henderson coming into this game, I should say, had 2 3-pointers. He was like 2 for 24, shooting 8%. Let me just go to his stat line really quick. He went 3 for 4. So he already had one more than he had into the whole season. But I feel like what sparked it was them just making shots and not just turning the ball over. Jeremy Grant had 4 steals, Brogdon had 2, Sharp had 2, Aiden had 1, Thibault had 4, Reith had 2. They had 15 steals, and I think at one point had over 20 points off of fast breaks. That's like the whole game right there. If obviously you're gonna have a couple here or there, but to give up over 20 points, I think in fast breaks, I think that was the reason why they were losing hypothetically. Again, there's going to be times where, teams making all their 3-pointers, can't do much about that. But when you're carelessly turning the ball over almost every possession, that's what killed them. And then missing every wide open shot. I don't know if you saw Damian Lillard. Oh my God. It was like there was no one within the basket to like almost the 3-point line, and he just missed it. And then they turned it over. He had like a wide open dunk. Giannis had a wide open dunk. The last possession that put the Bucks up 2 points when Giannis had the tap up, they had like 3 chances. Bobby missed the crap out of his shot. It looked like a pass, but it was a shot. But yeah, it was just careless misplays at the in like the restricted area. Not even just like, you got like 5 to 10 feet out. It was like point blank shot that they just kept missing. Like nothing was going in for them looking at some of these guys' stats. But yeah, once they just consistently start to hit a few shots, that's what I think sparked them the most and get to the line. Giannis shot 18 free throws and Lillard shot 14, and no one else shot a free throw that game. So all it took was Giannis and Damian Lillard to go to the hoop.
And that's another concern too, is that like Milwaukee is having to now overly rely on Giannis and Dame Lillard to win them games. Trust me, that's going to catch up with them. Because to win a title, to even compete for a championship, it's a team effort. And that sounds so simple for me to say it like that, but trust me. Like Milwaukee's going to need every single player to step up. And they've had games this year. Malik Beasley had a solid 2-game stretch, but he's kind of reverted back. Brook Lopez had 39 points against the Wizards. It's like, all right, solid. Now, Evan, they're really going to need everybody because Chris Middleton's probably going to be out a while.
Yes.
And, everybody's medically researching it. It's probably going to be a month to 2-month injury.
Okay, that is better, though, than I thought he was going to be out for the year. I thought it was like full-on ACL. I know he has like an ACL sprain.
I thought it was like Achilles tendinosis or whatever they wanted to call it. I don't think it was. So it wasn't an ACL injury, but I don't know because when I rewatched the game against the Wizards, I could kind of tell he wasn't the same Chris Middleton. Just kind of based on watching him like walk and move up and down the floor. I don't know. He didn't look right to me. Like it looked like his legs were bothering him again.
I will say this. Is it Eric Name?
Yes.
Is that the Twitter guy? He posted a video an hour ago. Bucks are warming up on the Heat's ugly court for the in-season tournament. Jesus. Of Giannis and Chris warming up. And it says Chris left Achilles tendonitis is still listed as questionable for tonight's game. So I don't know. We'll see. But yes, but in reality, he could still be out for a while, most likely. But it looks like a lot better than maybe we hope it's going to be. But yeah, he's getting up shots right now in this video.
What? So even if he does play, I expect the minute restriction to sort of come back.
Yes, which is unfortunate.
Because, and who knows, it could be that way the rest of the year. Like, it sucks Chris Middleton's body at this point in his career is like failing him a little bit, where he's having to deal with all these different ailments, especially to his lower body. And it's unfortunate because athletes go through a lot to get their bodies ready to perform on game day. And the fact that Chris Middleton has to continuously just fight through all these lower body injuries, it sucks because he's so far away from the player he once was.
Even within the last 2 years. In the finals to now.
Like, he could show glimpses of being that guy, but he's just missed too much time.
Yeah. And his shots aren't going in anymore. Like, his 3-point shooting it's like he's not taking as many that I feel like he used to, and he's only making like 1 or 2 if he's lucky. It's that's not a good one. No consistency. Like 1 for 3, the game I think he got injured, and then the Celtics won 2 of 5 where he's not shooting a lot and he's not making a lot, but it looks like though it is close to 100% for what I've been reading on Twitter as you were kind of talking, but if it's still going to be restricted, I feel like he's going to have to really embrace I'm clearly the third option, which is obvious when you have Giannis and Lillard on your team. But just kind of know that he's probably not going to score like 25 or not even 25, like here or there, have a 30, 40 game sometimes. But I feel like he's going to have to face the fact that he's probably going to be the 10 to 15 if he's lucky at this point, just of how he's playing. I feel like he's going to progress, but it's not looking too promising in my opinion.
By the way, another aspect of this game that I keep forgetting Malcolm Brogdon got traded to the Blazers. I don't know why I keep forgetting that, but I keep that hasn't sunk in yet. That wait, why is Malcolm Brogdon got traded to the Blazers?
Yeah, and almost had triple-double. Yeah, he shot a lot. Jeremy Grant, Brogdon, and Sharp took a lot of shots. But yeah, Brogdon was in the Drew Holiday trade to the Celtics.
Yeah, and Grant too. Like Jeremy Grant actually, like he hit the game-tying shot.
Of course, yeah. It was like,
and it looked like Portland couldn't score for like the last 2 quarters. Of course, Jeremy Grant hits the shot.
Right after we take the lead. It's like, oh my gosh, yes. And then it's next possession. But yeah, just a lot of back and forth. And then I think, again, it's one of those things where it's like awesome the Bucks came back and won by 26 points, but it's like they're 4-12 or 4-11 going into it. Basically our record flipped, but it's one of those things where we were saying earlier, like it's a great thing to have or a great comeback, but you don't want to have the status being the largest comeback, especially when it's against the Blazers. But yeah, I would say the big thing was just dumb turnovers, like not even just like a turnover here or there, but it felt like it was like every other possession they were turning the ball over. They didn't have like that 17 turnovers, but just a lot of fast break points, I think was the worst thing because it just kept piling up. And when things pile up to be stupidly high, like how they had over 20 points, fast break points, it's that their dividing of winning or like what they were down by is basically all off of fast break points, which is dumb and it shouldn't happen, but it probably will again.
It will definitely happen again. Milwaukee's transition defense this year, it's been horrible. Like to put it nicely, it's been really, really bad. Like just abhorrent, eye gouging. Like it's just like it feels like if there's a miss off the front rim, it's a run out for the other team. Easy dunk,
easy points.
Like it's just nobody's hustling back, and that's the biggest concern. Is that if you miss off the front rim, like science or math says the ball is probably going to bounce to the other team usually, and the fact that there's one player sprinting back and nobody else sprints back from Milwaukee, and they basically have to rely on Giannis to do a LeBron-esque chase down block,
which he does get a good chunk of times, but it's like you can't rely on that every single time.
No, it's like, why is nobody else hustling back? I understand for Brooks' sake because he's going as
he
fast.
Does try though, and I will give him that. I just feel like he knows he's not gonna make it. He's not gonna beat out some 21-year-old shooting guard. It's impossible. But he does give the effort, but I think he gives up because he's like, yeah, I'm not making that.
Yeah, no, and that's okay. But like the other fast players, they don't have an excuse. Malik Beasley's fast. Giannis is fast. Lillard, we didn't bring him in for defense, but the other guys on the floor.
Yeah, Ajax should be back. Yeah, it's a lot of these guys you're more than capable of doing this.
AJ Green, I mean, everybody has got to pull the weight around here defensively, Evan.
Yeah, AJ Green, he's getting some minutes, but man, is he missing his 3-pointers. Again, I'm a very big AJ Green stan, but he hasn't been looking too hot this year when he gets his minutes, but unfortunately.
No, no, but you know what? Hey, I mean, goodness. And the other point I want to make too is that, is Adrian Griffin, like if he's having trouble giving his players like a spark, and again, it should be up to Adrian Griffin to give his team a spark. But is he going to keep doing the thing where Milwaukee has a poor first quarter, and then all of a sudden he's just like, let's just throw Thanasis in there. Let's throw Andre Jackson Jr. in there. Let's throw our high-energy guys so we can uplift the whole team. And I'm like, are we going to keep doing that where we're just playing Thanasis in like the first or second quarter whenever the team needs like a boost?
He can do that, but he does have to do it on the court. It's like now you're basically one man down of someone who's going to score because every time he gets the ball, again, I love Thanasis, but when he gets the ball and he starts dribbling it up the court like super fast, it's like, all right. Even Marcus Johnson announcing the game is like, all right, Thanasis, not too much. Like he will even point it out. But again, it's nice to see him play. But yeah, seeing him start in like the end of the first or early second, it was like, oh, this is kind of random.
What we're basically asking Thanasis to do is be like, Thanasis, no,
pass it.
like my brother was watching. It was like, Thanasis, I want you dribbling. Like he can't dribble. He can't dribble, and he's not wrong. He's not wrong in his assessment that Thanasis is not very. He can't. I just don't really want him doing anything more than he's capable. I don't want him to try to do anything more than his capabilities on the basketball floor. I don't want him dribbling. I don't want him leading the offense. Okay,
Just go post or someone.
You just go post. Get set up for a dunk or something, but don't try to run the offense. Don't Like maybe set screens, maybe try to grab a rebound, but sometimes it's
It's a little
like
too much.
Thanasis plays basketball like a football player would.
Yes.
Like it's just so out of control. It's so unhinged. Okay. Like I remarked the part last year against the Hornets where he knocked out Terry Rozier. Okay. He knocked him out. He tried to go for a block. He missed and knocked out Terry Rozier.
Because he's always one step ahead or two steps ahead of where he is in the game, and it's too late at that point.
And Andre Jackson Jr., I don't know. He looks fluid. Every time Thanasis is on the floor, it's just like, oh god, dude, this. Like he'll make some plays, but Jesus, he's so out of control when he's on the floor. Like just he doesn't. I've said this before and I'll say it again. He just doesn't look like a basketball player to me when he actually plays. He just looks like a guy who's way too excited to be out there.
Or the team manager who like, all right, we'll bring him in for our last game.
And Adrian Griffin for some reason is like, you know what? This team needs some juice injected into him.
Thanasis, get in there.
Thanasis, get in there in the early the second quarter. What? Why is he? All right, we don't need the last guy on the bench to already be in the game. It's like really this team doesn't need just Thanasis is like he's like a nice energy drink where it's like, all right, you don't really want to have it every day because if you're overly reliant on it, then you're eventually going to crash. Okay. Like, or actually, this might be a better comparison. Thanasis is like that one friend at the party that you like in small doses. You don't want too much of him because he's going to annoy the crap out of you. But
here or there, you'll talk to him.
Just the right amount of Thanasis could just be what this team needs. I don't want him to get regular minutes. Just kind of toss him in small doses like Budenholzer did. Just throw him a breadcrumb. Like when he would toss him in for 30 seconds and never play in the rest of the game. Just do that.
Yeah, the last 30 seconds of the half, it'd be all right. Get on in there.
No, that's it. That's all we really want to see. I don't actually want him to see the Nasa get 15 to 20 minutes. I'm good on that. I'm good. So, yeah. So last topic, I saw Kevin O'Connor of The Ringer. He tweeted about this. He was talking about how Adrian Griffin is already looking like the worst hire this offseason. Do you agree with that assessment?
I'm not going to 100% agree. I'm going to 65 to 70% agree. I feel like get me through December and I will give like a 100% yes or no. But I'm very high leaning towards yes. It was. And I don't know. It's some say it's too early to judge, but I'm feeling like, it's the same thing every single game. Like it doesn't show that anything's been changed. And I feel like would be a difference if you could clearly tell something's different, whether it's working or not working. I feel like I could get a better answer, but I feel like I'm watching the same game every single time. And there's nothing that's different that I've been like, oh, I can see that adjustment. Like, good job. But I'm not seeing anything. But yeah, I'm not 100% with my answer, but I'm, again, leaning higher towards yes.
And the concern level was there when they made the hire.
Mm-hmm.
Where it was like, wait, whoa. A first-time coach leading a championship contending team. Like that was the concern. Now, I think you're right. I think we got to kind of wait to see how it plays out. because right now we're still kind of in the ebbs and flows of the season. Former NBA player Reggie Miller talked about this, where really after Christmas is when you kind of know where your team's at.
Yeah. Once you get into January.
Like, if Milwaukee still has the same issues persisting after Christmas, this is probably who they're going to be the rest of the year. There's no like fixing it. They're still at the point in the year where, all right, it's near December. They still have the issues, but they have time to iron out those issues before Christmas. So, and like the defense, it might be what it is this year, where, good, sometimes bad, but I think the bigger concern, larger than the defense, is Milwaukee's poor first quarters this season. Poor starts to games. I think that's a bigger concern more so than the defense, because Milwaukee on some days just looks lethargic. They look low energy, and honestly, they don't look like they want to be out there.
Yeah, it's like they're down double digits within like 3 or 4 minutes, where it's like, oh, and we're already down, and it's like they're clawing themselves back so early, where it's like it should not be this far out so quick. And I feel like, especially with the Trailblazers game, with the Celtics game, even kind of the Magic game too, it's like they just let him score right away, and it's like Lillard chucks up 4 shots and he's 0 for 4 in 2 minutes, and it's like nothing's working right away, and then they slowly have lost maybe like 8 to 12 point lead, where it's like, all right, that's where we're going to be, and like you can totally tell how the game's going to play out. Usually, obviously, sometimes they'll come back, but yeah, there are just times where there's no consistency, there's no effort put into it, and you're down double digits in 2-3 minutes, and now what are you going to do? What is Adrian Griffin going to do now? And see if things work. But yeah, it's annoying, and it's something that I feel like hasn't changed at all. Looking at the first quarter stats, again, sometimes they'll score, like in the Trailblazers game, they were only down 5 points. They scored 26 though. You had the Wizards game, you scored 34, but you were losing, where it's like you score high, but then you give up high. And then the Celtics one, it was 17. It's either a really good first quarter where they have like 10 to 15 point lead, and then they give it right back up in the second quarter, or they're down 10 to 13 points in the first quarter, and now they're clawing back.
Yeah, like I think what's indicative of a good team is, like, you should only have to claw back once in a while.
Mm-hmm.
If every game feels like you're either scratching to keep the lead, or you're trying to claw your way back to steal victory, it's just long term, you can't win that way. Short term, all right, yeah, nice little regular season win that nobody's going to really care about a few months later. But like long term, it's okay. This team really has to start playing four quarters of good, solid basketball. Like,
yes, yeah,
and I think the players are frustrated too. Where, we got to start the games better.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, comebacks are cool, but I don't want to do that every single game and expect them to have to come back 13 points in the fourth quarter. Like, they've done that numerous times already this season. Sure, they've won a few of them, but it's like, do you want to have to watch that every single time with the stress of, are they going to come back? Are they going to come back? They have to do it because they've done it 4 out of 5. No, I don't want to have to do that every time. It's not good.
And I'm going to be honest here. I don't even get excited for those wins anymore.
Yeah, people are like, oh, we came back, like, take that. Like, oh, you guys were wrong about us. Like, we're back. It's like,
no,
cool.
We're not. Like, honestly, some people just treat, like, I think we're old enough now to realize not all wins are created equally.
Mm-hmm.
Like, a blowout win's good. Obviously, there's probably still things to work on.
Mm-hmm.
But a 133 to 130 win in what's been seemingly like it's felt like every game most where the losing team still scored well over 100 points.
Yes.
Okay. And, okay, I'm sorry, but like, why would you want to get excited about a 134 to 131 win? This isn't the All Star game.
No.
It's a regular season game. And Milwaukee's defense is
Against
performing
a
like
horrible
that.
team.
Yeah. Like, I'm sorry, but like, I don't think you can consider yourself a true fan if you can't be a little critical of Milwaukee had to really squeak out a win against the Wizards.
Yeah.
The Wizards, they've won 2 games this year, and they were able to squeak out like a 131 to 128 win that came down to the final shot. Like, that's concerning. And the other concerning part is their 2-minute offense.
Mm-hmm.
Like the 2 like you're starting to turn the ball over against the Wizards. Who do the Wizards really have defensively that should make you turn the ball over? They have Jordan Poole. They have Kyle Kuzma. They're not locking people down. So I don't know. Just the fact that it didn't feel like Adrian Griffin had like much has really much of a plan for the 2-minute offense, other than, hey, just get the ball to Dame and everybody get the hell out of the way.
Yeah.
That won't work all the time. Okay, I think they might need a second guy. I get it's Dame time, but sometimes Dame time can fall right out of the sky. So Milwaukee might need a second guy that they can trust, and it'll probably be Giannis. But even if it could be like, I don't know, Malik Beasley or Lopez or somebody.
Yeah, it'll have to change, but yeah, I'll judge it. We'll say after Christmas, what is their record, and if things have changed by then. But yeah, otherwise, got a game tonight against the Heat. No Jimmy Butler, so let's see how that goes. Can they just have a decent win? Probably not. Then they play the Bulls on Thursday, and Hawks on Saturday. So we got 3 games this week still. Obviously, one tonight. In-season tournament tonight too.
Yep. So I was just alerted that this will decide if they make the knockout stage.
Okay.
So get ready for that. Thank you. Evan, you got anything else?
No. Again, so yeah, they play tonight, Thursday, Saturday, and then Monday. So hopefully, again, Heat, Bulls, Hawks, 2 away, 1 home, 1 home against the Hawks. So we'll see, but can't expect anything anymore. Can't predict because my predictions are now usually wrong.
All right, so thank you guys for tuning in to the Milwaukee Bucks on Tap podcast, and we will see you guys later this week.
Mm-hmm.